Short time ago, in a city not too far away, two men went and played the new Star Wars game, Star Wars Outlaws, and we're here to give you a preview.
We had 3 different missions to choose from.
Yeah.
We had a very combat mission. There was a kind of typical Naughty Dog like parkour mission, like Uncharted vibes, and then we had a stealth mission that we kind of immediately ruined.
Yeah, I don't think that was us. I mean, it was us. We were drinking on free beverages from this to insert YouTubers alcohol here, but it was very tasty and it was very free. So it made
very free.
It was very good actually.
So the first kind of mission we got up to starts, I think, very near the end of a mission. Like some stuff had already gone down, and we show up in this hallway with a stormtrooper, and I think we approach that combat very differently because you've got like your little fella, and I sent it to go out and distract the stormtrooper and steal a grenade from him so he couldn't blow me up. And then as he was getting distracted, I walked up and pressed the whistle button accidentally, and he immediately shot me, and I died about 30 seconds after starting the demo.
Yeah, I didn't really know what I was doing. Like, we had a sheet of controls, and I just did not know what was going on. So I just shot him. I literally shot him, and it seemed to not break the stealth too badly, so I just kept going.
Yeah, right.
You know, we busted the stealth immediately. But there was actually a lot of stealth options, like especially with your little fella. That means you were able to distract or take something from the guards that would, like, make your experience just a bit like safer and more interesting. There was a lot of interactivity in the levels as well, and environmental hazards. It was a bit Watch Dogs-esque, I think.
Yeah.
Just
with like you can always just shoot a dude, but you've got that extra like kind of like Watch Dogs where you could just hack a thing. You've got Nick, so you can send a do a thing. Yeah,
there was a lot of like the options that you could send Nick to do. I would see as hacking options. From Watch Dogs.
Yeah, it's got that kind of DNA.
Yeah. So the end of the mission. Ubisoft. We moved on to
the
hangar.
Yeah, the hangar is a big like combat sequence where you've activated this like alarm, so you're trying to get to your ship, but there's a bunch of stormtroopers coming, and that's where I think out of every mission we did, probably the most we got to experience like the combat. There's a lot of weapons to pick up. I did see that there was a sniper rifle, and I don't think either of us touched that.
I didn't know where it was, but there was a lot of red barrels, which obviously in video game terms means you can blow those motherfuckers up. So I was blowing those motherfuckers up. It's also interesting, they had the shield mechanics, so stormtroopers had the shields, and you actually had a different firing mode that was like a taser, which would actually break the shields so you could actually shoot them. It was actually a much higher level of combat than I was expecting in the game. But yeah, that was a fun sequence. Exploration mission, bit Uncharted-esque. This game has been, before anyone gets into it, it does have the yellow paint, which is fine. Every game, I'm pretty sure I saw a thing where it's like, people do not know where to go if you do not put indicators of where to go. And I think there may be an option to turn the yellow paint off. We're not sure, as we didn't really dig through the settings. But yeah, you go through, it was a crashed ship. Crashed,
like, High Republic ship, very ancient, which is very, like, that's like the KOTOR era of, like, Star Wars, very old stuff, which is very cool. It was very simple parkour, like, there wasn't anything too crazy. It was like, press A to jump, and press A to grab the thing you're jumping at, and then just move on, and stuff is moving around you, but it's pretty much just move the left stick in a direction, and occasionally press A.
Yeah.
Nothing too groundbreaking, but it's like parkour. Like, what are you going to do?
Yeah, it wasn't too bad though. Like, I do hope that the game progresses with more of that parkour elements. Near the end, like the exploration. But the glitch that we saw before we get into the end of the level was someone couldn't actually. It was only on one demo that they kept jumping onto this rope to swing across to grab onto a ledge, and they actually, no matter what they did, they could not grab onto the ledge, and it was generally a glitch. Like, someone had to come help them, and they had to reboot the game. It was very entertaining, and it's nothing on Ubisoft quality or anything. It was not on Ubisoft. It was just a glitch, and glitches happen all the time. So, honestly, they may have found a game-breaking glitch that is now fixed in the full release.
Maybe. Yeah, so you go through the Starship, and it's very, like I said, very your usual affair when it comes to, like, Ubisoft parkour. You're kind of just moving through an area. Very, I want to say, like Jedi Survivor almost, Jedi Fallen Order, where it's just kind of like crawling and you go up a thing, and it's got that like modern day loading mechanic of shimmying through a hallway.
Interactive loading screens.
Yeah, the interactive loading screens from every game. So that was fine. Like, that was nothing too crazy. The final mission, like the final part of that parkour, after you get through all this kind of movement, is there was a combat sequence in this like bridge room for the ship where two assassins show up and you have to fight them. I tried to melee one of them, and he like threw in a smoke bomb and disappeared and wouldn't let me punch him. So they were like unique enemies. They're very different from the stormtroopers that we fought in the other two missions.
Yeah, I didn't have an issue with combat like you seem to do in that section.
Yeah, I'm an idiot.
It did lead into an actual chase with another bounty hunter that seemed to be after you.
Yeah.
Which was quite interesting. And then we move on to our final mission, the stealth mission, which we have to say, we played this mission quite intoxicated.
Yeah.
So there was all the elements of stealth that we were meant to adhere to, absolutely out the window.
I think doing the missions, like, we were next to each other doing these missions. So I had my PC, Dante had his PC, and we were sitting next to each other. And I could see as we were progressing through all three missions, we were pretty neck and neck. And as I started like combat in that third mission, I failed my stealth. I had to start fighting some people. I looked over, Dante started the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Like, we got to around the same bit. Which I think is less a comment on Star Wars Outlaws' stealth and more of just, we were like 3.5 hours worth of drinks at a bar while playing this. We are not professional gaming journalists. We were drinking on the job.
Yeah.
And I think we buggered up that stealth pretty quickly.
But we would have beaten the Cuphead level.
We would have beaten the Cuphead level. With that stealth mission, it's pretty vertical. Like, you start on, the second floor of, like, a bar, and your exit's on the first level. So I think normally you'd, like, sneak through, and kind of map yourself out a path to kind of get through everyone and hit them down with nicks. We got spotted, and eventually, like, essentially just had to start shooting our way out.
Yeah.
Like, it was pretty intense.
There's not an issue for me with breaking stealth, because I love gunslinging sections.
Yep.
And the shooting is kind of nice in this game.
Yeah.
It looks like there are a few more mods for the weapons that we weren't actually able to see because they went
like
further
upgrades.
in the preview. There's also obviously the trend at the moment with bounty hunters as kind of the trend for Star Wars, and
especially this era,
yeah, for the current era of media in Star Wars, and it's not doing a Jedi story. Like, I love like Jedi Fallen Order. Like, I think that's a really good Star Wars story. But it is interesting. It's definitely inspired by the Han Solo film. But I actually kind of dig it. I'm keen to see where it goes from here.
Yeah, I mean, I liked that movie, and one of the Ubisoft guys we were talking to, we talked to him, and he said that one of the big instructions they got from Disney with this game was no lightsabers. Like, this was meant to be kind of the scoundrel fantasy. And I'm excited to see in the full game how well they actually stick with that.
Yeah.
The Ubisoft guy told us one of the big things with this game as well is that the development studio, they looked into like what lenses were used, what cameras were used back filming the original trilogy like of movies back in the day in like the 70s and 80s.
And screen effects.
And the screen effects. Screen effects?
Yeah.
And a stroke. And the screen effects, yeah. Going through what made Star Wars look like Star Wars. And he told us something that I haven't kept up with the marketing of this game. Maybe they've talked about this already and I just have missed it. But they talked about how they looked at that and they added digital effects in this game and like color grading and stuff to essentially use those lenses to film and frame the cutscenes of this game and just the general gameplay, so it looks and feels like that original trilogy.
Yeah, it actually looks really nice. Like, I think what we both said was we actually really liked how the game looked.
Yeah.
So graphics, like art direction wise, it just had it was really crisp and still had that Star Wars feel. We did not talk about the ship combat at the end of the first mission. I think that was one of our contentions both of us kind of found. It could be a bit clunky. There was a pursuit mode that I don't think either of us were actually that keen on.
No. So the controls of the spaceship were already preset, so like the roll and the thrusters and everything, which in the main game I'll tweak and maybe find that I'm a bit happier with it there. But the biggest thing for me was we were finding some TIE fighters after escaping, and it came up with a big prompt, press left trigger to enter pursuit mode. which we pressed, and then activates this weird flyby kind of like automatic targeting, but for movement on a ship. Like we're following this TIE fighter, and then our ship is behind it. And if you hold left trigger, your ship automatically kind of follows vaguely in the direction of the ship.
It's very loose.
Yeah. It's not like you're locked on or anything, but it kind of just handles the flying for you, so you can shoot. And I'm not any good at space combat, but I really like space combat and just vehicle flying in games. Like I like feeling like I'm a dogfighter, even though I'm shit at it.
Yeah.
So it's a fun feeling. And when this game is like, press this button and I'll do all the work for you, it kind of felt a bit odd.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that there's like a difficulty option that removes that, because if the game's balanced around that, I'm gonna feel like I have to use it.
There were actually points about the space combat and travel, which it was very No Man's Sky-esque, because at the end of that mission we actually flew into the planet, and you could absolutely tell it was like the good part of No Man's Sky was ripped out, and they've just done their own spin, and it's like it actually felt really nice. And the actual size of that space area that we fought in, it seemed like there would actually be more objectives in that area. So what we weren't shown as well were if there would be more space areas in the game, and if you'd actually be traveling between planets like that.
Yeah.
But if that is in the game, that's actually sick. I'm super keen on that. But yeah, any other...
One of the big things we kind of were able to infer potentially about the potential of the space combat that we didn't really get to... Like, neither of us have looked at the marketing for this game. We kind of like going into stuff blind. But it seems that there's like a Grand Theft Auto style wanted system, maybe? Because at the end of that mission where we're in the space combat, after you've shot down the TIE fighters that are pursuing you and the Empire can't see you, you go to this like beacon where you essentially just like convince the Empire that you've already left, even though you're still in the area. And as we were holding down a button to erase our wanted level, it says your wanted level is going to go down and you're not going to get pursued anymore. So I don't know if it's something where you can start doing stuff against the Empire in space and they're going to send more and more people after you until eventually, you know, it gets really bad. Maybe a Star Destroyer comes after you or something.
Yeah, that'd be
ridiculous.
It just depends if you're going to have a Star Destroyer, if you could just call Space Lester and he'll clear your wanted
get
level.
Him out. We didn't get to touch the open world nature of this game too much. We did kind of stray a little bit from the path in the stealth mission. After we finished the stealth mission, I think you and I both went into two different shops and started trying to like see what you can and can't buy. Dante tried to go into a gun store and then the game was like, you're going out of bounds, and kicked him out. But I found a clothing store that I could go into and you could purchase like gear with like shirts and holsters and stuff, and they would give you perks based on what you're wearing. So no gear score or anything, which I know they've been doing with some of the more recent Assassin's Creed games, for example.
Yeah.
So there wasn't like a gear score or anything, you're going to have to level up gear. But gear had like perks associated with it, which I think is a bit more simple, feels a bit better. I love Destiny, and I love gear score. I don't think I need it in every game, especially in single player games.
Yeah, I like light RPG elements like that. It doesn't need to be a fully fledged RPG system.
So we talked about, I think neither of us were a big fan of that pursuit mode from the ship. What was like the one big positive thing you saw from this game? Like actually playing it and getting to feel it. What was like the big thing you enjoyed more than anything else?
I think my main positive was how scrappy the game felt, and I really like the bounty hunter style that the game's really going for. We did have a little look at the lore tabs. There was some hut stuff, and because it takes place in between Return and Empire, maybe there'll be some lore implications there with Han Solo being trapped in carbonite. That'd be a pretty cool way to play on things. But yeah, what about your main big win?
My big win 71 was just the way I think everything kind of looked. Like it had that clean Empire feel when we were in the hangar. It had that kind of grungy, grimy crime town during one of our missions. We had to land on a planet. Had that kind of feel to it. There was a bar that we didn't touch too much, but we saw a lot of people playing mini games in that bar.
Oh, true,
yeah, there was like a mission where it was like right after that ship combat, you land and you have to like talk to a crime boss about this job you did for him. And that bar, we've gone straight for the mission end. Yeah. We didn't realize how much stuff was interactable in that bar. We saw a lot of people. I think there was like some like Space Invaders looking game. I could be wrong. Was there like horse bets? Did I see that?
There might have been.
There might have been gambling.
Yeah, might have been gambling.
We love gambling.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool. Like, I think the amount of little details that I think are going to be in this game when it releases are going to be huge. Like the amount of stuff that was in that bar, the whole lens and camera situation, trying to copy that from the original trilogy. I think there's going to be a lot of little things that you're going to love as like a Star Wars fan in this game.
Yeah, I think there's heaps for everyone here, and it's going to be interesting to see how it goes in full release. So thank you very much for watching. This has been Sleep Players with Jacob and Dante. I'm just the guest here. And this has actually been a giant ploy as an audition tape for Good Game. So bring back Good Game 2024. Because we fell asleep watching that the night of.
We did!
So yeah, I think it'll be good. We had some Good Game-esque riffs here.
Yeah, how do we get a collab with Darren the Robot? How do we get him? Is he like hireable?
I don't know, I think maybe they got an AI now.
Darren's an AI?
Yeah, maybe.
Oh god, he could be.
So thank you Ubisoft, and thank you Fortress Sydney for hosting as well. Your lager's pretty tasty. So yeah.
Thank you. Oh, very good.
Yeah, so I yapped so much there.
No, that was good. That was good.
I'm overstepping.
No. I was I thought I was talking a lot there. That was good.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Oh, right.